Welcome to r/EntitledPeople, where, when this entitled maths teacher gets a very simple maths question wrong, all the parents of the students in that class get on her back, which ultimately leads to the principal calling her out in front of everyone. Miss Know-It-All received a lesson in humility. This happened 25 years ago. All names have been changed because I don't remember them. My part proved to be minor, but it's still important. My sister-in-law called me because she knew I possess math skills. Her son's 4th grade teacher had a bonus question on a test, and her son, who normally gets 100% on all tests, failed this question. When she'd asked the teacher about it, Miss Know-It-All sniped, "You wouldn't understand because you're not a teacher." My sister-in-law described her to be fresh out of college, teaching her first year. So she asked me about the question. There are 4 red balls, 3 blue balls, and 2 white balls in a bag. You pull one out, what color is it? Well, this question is a classic probability scenario that involves a lot of logic and math. For instance, there's a 4 out of 9 chance it will be red, 3 out of 9 blue, and 2 out of 9 whites. Well, the teacher said it's red because it has the highest percentage. Well, actually, no, the highest percentage is it not being white, at 7 out of 9. I could hear her scratching her head metaphorically as she absorbed this new revelation. So you can't say it's any color? Correct. You can only give the probability of it being any color. I mean, yeah, that is absolutely right. You can't say, yes, the ball that I pull out is going to be red. Just because it has the highest chance of it being red doesn't mean it is going to be red. Yes, the probability of getting a red ball is higher than the probability of getting any other color ball, but to say that it will be red, that's just incorrect. So anyway, armed with this knowledge, she talked with Miss Know-It-All a second time. She reported that the superior teacher told her in her smug way, "I am the teacher, and you don't know what you're talking about." Not satisfied, my sister-in-law and a few other parents took it to the principal. There was a meeting scheduled between the parents and the teacher. Again, Miss Know-It-All explained why she was correct, because she was the teacher. One father pointed out his engineering background and the math required for his degree. He told the group the same as I explained earlier. "I'm a teacher, and you don't know anything about teaching," proclaimed the indignant Miss Know-It-All. With this, another father spoke up. "My name is Professor Maxwell of the local state university. I'm head of the mathematics department of the school. I've got 20 years of teaching experience. There is never a reason to teach bad math at any level." Please note, I recognized his name when my sister-in-law mentioned it because I had several classes with him. He was a very cool teacher and passionate about math. Miss Know-It-All slunk back into her chair and her face went pale when the principal determined that it was bad math and gave credit to all the 4th graders. He instructed Miss Know-It-All to stick to the textbook in the future regarding maths questions. The principal explained this to her in front of the parents. Wow. There was a certain glee in my sister-in-law's voice when telling me about the final meeting. Yeah, I mean, you're just wrong, teacher. You're just wrong. Plain and simple. I don't really understand how you've come to that conclusion. It's not even tough maths. You just cannot say that it's gonna 100% be a certain ball color when you don't know that. It's probability, yeah, sure, but you have to give the answer as a probability and not as an absolute, because how could you possibly know? It's ridiculous. Clearly, it's not even that hard math. It's very, very simple. It's 4th grade. Ridiculous. To be honest, I'm actually very worried. The fact that she's getting that so clearly wrong and still maintains that she was right the whole time and that other people wouldn't understand because they're not teachers, get her fired immediately, because that is just awful. How is she even a teacher in the first place? That's just basic maths that all of you will know. Very, very strange. Get her out of there. Now moving on to our next post. "Sorry kids, your mummy is a liar." On the maternal side of my family, I have a cousin who is an entitled parent. Now, admittedly, I don't see her very often because her parents got divorced when she was a kid and her mum always got her for the holidays. So she didn't really feel connected to our family, which is fine and valid, but she lied to us a lot when she was an adult that she would come and never did, and it kind of killed everyone inside a bit, especially my grandmother. But every time I do see her now, it's a bit of a nightmare. The last time I saw her was in 2019 at our grandfather's memorial, where she showed up 3 hours late in casual clothes, it was a semi-formal event, that were covered in stains and dog fur. And the first thing she did was approach our newly widowed grandmother and ask her for money. So yeah, she's not a great person, but since her mum is raising her kids, they're actually super sweet. Anyway, during 2021, my paternal grandfather passed due to COVID complications. And when he first got sick, he and my grandmother decided to give myself, siblings, and cousins our inheritance because they didn't want it to get lost between fighting if it were to be sorted out after they passed. My aunt, my dad's sister, is also an entitled parent, but this ain't about her for once. So we were each given 50,000 Canadian dollars. My brothers and I immediately put the money into tax-free savings accounts and savings accounts because there's only so much money that you're legally allowed to put into tax-free ones. Very sensible. Now, one thing about the money, we told no one. Only our immediate paternal family knew, and we weren't going to tell anyone else because people get weird about money. My maternal side of the family has been fixing up our old family cottage, and one of my brothers is in the trades and doing well for himself. So he decided to buy a used boat off Kijiji with the inheritance money from his savings, and then quickly replaced it. Our maternal side was told about that and shown the boat, and we just told them he got the money from the trades. Well, my paternal grandmother let it slip about the inheritance to my maternal grandmother, who accidentally mentioned it to one of my poorer uncles. He makes poor financial decisions. And he told the rest of the family. He pouted a bit, but overall, no one asked us for money and understood why we didn't tell them. Since we're not getting together for Christmas this year, we were having a video call to chat and wish happy holidays before we all got busy. And my maternal cousin was there, much to everyone's surprise. Not even 5 minutes into the video call, this conversation happens. My maternal cousin says, "All right, boys, what do you say to your auntie OP? Thank you for taking us to Disney." Now, I'm shocked by this. I'm not even planning on going anywhere near the US with a 10-foot pole. What are you talking about? I reply. "Well, you're paying for us to go to Disney." "No, I'm not. Where did you hear that?" One of the kids then said, "Mummy said that you'd send us to Disney because Grandma gave you lots of money." Now guys, remember that these kids are sweet, it's just their mum that's entitled. My maternal cousin, who had a very smug look on her face and clearly knew what she was doing, and that no one, least of all I, had said anything of the sort, said, "Yep, and we're so grateful because Grandma didn't give us any money, so thank you." I'm 100% done with this idiot and all the pain she's caused my family at this point. Sorry kids, your mummy is a liar. I'm not sending anyone to Disney, she lied to you. And the money I got was from my other grandma, because my grandpa got sick and died. It's not from this side of the family. I'm sorry that your mummy lied to you, she shouldn't have done that, it was wrong, and she owes you an apology. Everyone on the call was just frozen. And then it erupted. Her kids started yelling at her. "Why would you lie?" And "That was so mean." And my personal favourite, "Are you lying about other stuff?" Probably, kiddos, probably. She looked so angry and betrayed on camera, and my relatives started chiming in, but there were too many voices, so I said bye and left the call. My mum called me. I live in a different province for uni, and said that what I did was uncalled for. But I pointed out that because of her, there was no way for me to leave that conversation without looking like the bad guy, because I was absolutely not using my money to give her a free vacation, and that my cousin had lied too much to our family and directly caused us all a lot of pain, and it was probably for the best that her kids caught on quick. My mum just said that what I did was uncalled for and hung up. But then I started getting texts from other relatives in the call, and everyone except for the broke uncle, who's always complaining about his poor financial decisions, was on my side, because she'd hurt them too. My grandma called to thank me, because the only reason my maternal cousin comes around anymore is for money, and it's very hurtful. My maternal cousin was texting expletives at me until I blocked her. Then I start getting messages from her mother because her kids were getting so unruly from the betrayal that she just ditched the kids with her mum until her mum could get them calmed down. Like, how entitled do you have to be? She demands a free trip and then ditches her kids the moment she has to parent. Now guys, that is the end of the post, but thankfully OP has given us a little update. So, onto the update. It isn't major because it hasn't even been 12 hours since the call, but the broke uncle I mentioned before, who's broke just because of his own poor decision making, he called me privately to try and guilt me into paying for a Disney trip for him and his family. That would be him, the crazy and entitled conspiracy theorist, his wife, who although lovely comes from a very wealthy family from a different country and goes on 6 to 12 vacations or cruises a year, his 2 sons, who are 1,000 times more entitled than he is and are hellspawns, and his stepdaughter, who only just got back on the wagon and is only 2 months sober. I immediately said no. That is my money. I'm using it for what my grandfather intended me to, university and or traveling. I also pointed out that my uncle works in tech and makes at least $300,000 a year. His current contract is $380K if I remember correctly. He and his wife just went to Dubai, and that I'm a full-time uni student, only doing odd jobs and relying on savings from previous jobs. He, by all logic, should be in a much better financial position than me. And if he isn't, that's really not my fault. He pouted, but I told him that if he ever brought it up again, I'd tell the rest of the family he asked. Everyone's mad at him because he never seems to have money, but has the highest paying job. And he's an anti-vaxxer and an anti-masker, and is the entire reason my maternal family isn't getting together this year. So they'd absolutely chew him out if they found out that he asked me that. And finally, my maternal cousin did pick up her kids from her mum's house, but her mum found out the reason the kids were so upset, ripped her a new one, and made her call me to apologize. Overall, it's been a pretty successful day. I'll tell you what, guys, as far as families go, this one has got to be right up there. I cannot even think of a single word to describe them other than eclectic. Let's just go with that. That seems pretty safe. So many different characters. Like, you could make a TV show. Netflix, get on this. That's all I'm going to say. The drama is unbelievable. Some would argue better than The Crown, because that is a pile of dog shit. Again, just imagine how hectic that call was. That pause when OP, you'd finish what you were saying, and everyone was just in shock, like, oh my god, have you really just said that? Has that really just happened? Yes, everyone is kind of like understanding what's just happened and going through it in their own mind. And then a split second later, just utter catastrophe. Everyone's shouting, kids going crazy, cousins going mental. Brilliant. Again, it had to be there. You know, it actually reminds me of that, the parish council meeting. You guys may have seen that. Might insert a clip here. Jackie Weaver. If you've seen it, you know what I'm on about.
Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.
I reckon that it's quite similar what happened in this story to what happened on that Zoom call. Just brilliant. Like, everyone says that Zoom's bad and people don't like doing FaceTime calling and stuff like that. It's better in real life. Sometimes it makes drama like this. It's all worth it. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this absolutely hectic episode of Entitled People. Really hope you have enjoyed it. A couple of great stories in there, in my opinion. If you want to see more from the subreddit straight away, check out this video on the screen that I posted just the other day. You guys are loving it. A couple of great stories in there as well. If you are new to my channel and you haven't yet done so, please consider hitting this button, subscribing, turn notifications on, hit the bell, and you'll be notified every time I post. See you guys all tomorrow for a brand new video.